Susie B in the house.
Yes,
let's talk
Daddy,
about.
Zaddy.
Oh my God, let's talk about sex immediately.
Okay, good. Right to it. What do you want to talk about?
Well, let me introduce you first because people need to hear this and really understand who the hell you are. Because Susan Bratton, who I'm sitting down with today, is an intimacy expert to millions. She's a proclaimed orgasmonaut, which means she travels to the outer reaches of human orgasmic potential to bring the map to the territory of pleasure and connection. Imagine that you are capable of way more sexual satisfaction. What a beautiful image that is. She is a sexual biohacker recommending regenerative therapies that keep your libido and desire thrumming with life force because sex is good for you. So true, Queen. Moreover, Susan's superpower is courage. She takes a lion-hearted stand for your human right to pleasurable connection and the willingness to get nerdy on anatomy, details about sex skills, and science-driven on sex to achieve this outcome for everyone whose life she touches. Susan, g'day.
Hello, Zaddy Luke. How are you? You look so good in your leopard.
I wore this for you. Because I really was, we're talking about sex today, and I had to wear leopard, and let's get down to brass tacks. Can you teach yourself to squirt?
Sure. Oh yeah. There's 20 kinds of orgasms, and they are literally for both the male and female body, and they are literally all learned skills, every kind.
Incredible.
And I am the orgasmonaut, so I know these things. I've done them all. Actually, There's a couple I haven't done. A couple that didn't look good to me.
Oh, like you weren't interested in them? Or like you did, okay, you didn't want them, so you passed.
Yeah.
Yeah, got it.
Some of them are a little too freaky for me.
Yeah, I mean, can you tell us which ones they are?
Yeah, like the one that came to my mind that I wouldn't want to do is the urethral orgasm, where they stick, like, especially men like this, they stick this thing called a sounding device up their dick hole. Can I say dick hole?
Yeah. You can say it all.
I know. I was joking. Can I say dick hole to you, Luke? Oh, yes, I can say dick hole to you. They send it up into their urethral channel, like where the pee and ejaculate comes out, and stimulate the urethral canal, and it gives them orgasms. And I'm like, think I'm passing on that one. But some dudes freaking love that.
Yeah, right. I mean, you don't want to like yuck their yum. It sounds like it stings.
It's not my jam, but it's some people's jams. So let them have their jams.
Let them have their urethral jams. It just sounds like there's a lot of room for error. You're going to mess it up, and
you don't want to go off piste on that bullshit. Like,
you need to be doing it with a professional from the beginning. Like, there's no like, should we give this a go? Like, I don't know.
I have my favorite orgasms of the 20, and different people want different ones. And it's interesting too, because one of the things that I came out with most recently was something called, you might have done this, the Sex Life Bucket List. Did you do the Sex Life Bucket List yet?
I've looked into what the Sex Life Bucket List is through your video, and I'm trying to understand where to find the list.
SexLifeBucketList.com, mofo. What do you think? I don't know how to make a URL in the 21st century.
Oh my God, you know how to make many URLs. You have so many URLs.
Many URLs. True that. And they're all good. They're like breast massage master plan, the pumping. I got so many URLs that are so good. 7 positions.
Yeah. Okay, so I went to sexbucketlist.com. I went there.
Oh, okay.
And it looked like I just didn't want to give it my email.
Oh, don't worry. You can unsubscribe anytime.
I didn't want to get a daily email on my bucket list. Like, I just didn't want to get that.
Oh, you don't get a daily email on your bucket list. You get on my email newsletter, and you just get all my hot sex techniques. But hey, Zaddy, if you don't want them,
I know, I want them. I want them. I do.
Into that leopard shirt.
I do. I really want them. So can you tell us what's... Okay, no, wait. I want to get back to something you said before. Your favorite types of orgasms. What are they?
Yeah. Well, it's on the Sex Life Bucket List. So one of the things that I did was what I realized is I write a lot of techniques, how to do this thing, how to awaken your G-spot, how to squirt, how to have expanded orgasms, how to have P-spot orgasms, how to have blended orgasms. Like I do all this stuff. But what I realized that people actually want the most is fun, sexy ideas to do together or with themselves. And so I took all my shit and I made a list, and it ended up to be 48 different fun things you could do in the bedroom. And the idea is, and all you do is you get a PDF you download when you enter your email address at Sex Life Bucket List, and you can unsubscribe. So don't be afraid to get it. I mean, I want you, whether you stay on my email list or not, I would love to have you, but I understand email is a pain in the ass. So you get this PDF and you go through it and you check off like, okay, these are my A things I definitely want to do on my Sex Life bucket list. These are my B things where it wouldn't be on my list, but if my wife or my husband or my partner, my lover wanted to do it, I would totally do that with them. And then C's are, it's not for me right now. And I put all 20 kinds of orgasms on there so that people could be like, oh yeah, I want a squirting orgasm. Oh yeah, I want an expanded orgasm. Oh yeah, I want, all these different types of orgasms. And my favorites are the expanded orgasm, which is a Yoni massage technique. I like female ejaculatory and G-spot orgasms. I like orgasms from intercourse, just penetration orgasms, just good old fucking gasms. They're my favorite. Yeah. And they're all learned how. Like so many people think, oh, I just can't orgasm from intercourse. And I'm like, yeah, you can. You just need me to tell you how, and it's super easy. So don't give up orgasms because you have this limiting belief. They're all available to all of us. It's literally just knowing how. And that's what I do is I just like, here you go. This is how you do it. Step, 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 step. So
Perfection.
those are, and I also love breast and nipple gasms. I can have incredible gasms from just breast play and nipple play, like really light. Because the more orgasms I've had, the more easy it is to come, and the more easy it is to come in different ways. And so I love breast gasms and I love throat gasms, which you get from giving oral pleasure to a dick.
How do you teach yourself to give yourself a throat? I mean, how does that happen?
Well, essentially, you've got erectile tissue in your throat and your mouth, the tip of your nose. Everything is all kind of erectile in there. And do you remember the one of the really, really early porn movies was Deep Throat, Linda Lovelace?
Okay, I'm aware of it. I've heard of it, yes.
She could have orgasms from her mouth. She'd go down on a guy and it would make her come. Well, that's really a thing.
Wow.
So in your throat, right kind of at that little sphincter muscle, we have a lot of sphincters in our body, our irises, our vaginas, our assholes, our throats, our guts. We have this interlocking sphincter system. And that sphincter has a bunch of erectile tissue around it. So when you take that sphincter, when you tickle that sphincter with a penis or a dildo, it starts to become orgasmic. And a lot of people are like, oh, that makes me gag. And I'm like, well, the gag reflex is really just the beginning of the orgasmic contraction. And so when you realize you just need to relax and slow down and begin to feel the sensation, then you begin to get really comfortable, especially when you practice with your partner. And over time, instead of you stimulating yourself, your partner gets a feel for how to stimulate you and how to give you moments to breathe and catch your breath and when to deliver the sensation and when to peak or hold sensation back for a minute so that you reach for sensation, because that's how our nervous system works.
Yeah.
Then you start to just have these orgasms, and then you want to hear some crazy shit.
Please, that's why you're here.
Exactly. Does Luke want to hear crazy shit? Yes or no? Oh yeah, Luke wants to hear all the crazy shit. So you are so adorable. I love your Instagram so much. You are doing the craziest fucking shit all the time, and every day you give me a laugh. So I am here to just give you pleasure. This is what I came for.
You're giving me a lot of joy. You're a joy, truly.
So what's really weird about learning how to have throat gasms? Oh, and I love belly gasms too. Core gasms, as some people call them. When you stimulate your throat with a penis or dildo, you start out with like a little bit of spit, And then the spit gets more, you get spitty, like Itty and Spitty, the bitty dolphins, more spit comes out. And then as that saliva starts to run, it gets like pre-cum. It gets super slippery and clear and viscous. And then it gets white and foamy. I mean, it goes through all these stages if you just keep playing with the stimulation. And then you squirt from your throat. I shit you not. You literally have this thing where you like have an orgasm and then you want to like let the spit out of your throat. And a lot of partners think it's really hot if you kind of let that roll down their penis. Sometimes you have to like literally have a towel and mop it up, or you have like a moment of that kind of release and you make out with them. It's sexy. It's
that's
like
hot.
Very intimate.
Wow.
Very intimate.
Wow.
Yeah.
It sounds like something you can learn to control, obviously, like that gag reflex, and then learning to kind of push through that or relax in that situation. And then you can learn to control, just like we've probably learned, if you've had a lot of orgasms, like in the general way, like clitoral orgasms or penis orgasms,
vaginal
whatever.
orgasms or whatever,
You're just learning to control that all the time.
Yeah.
And so you can do that with your throat.
A lot of times when people are struggling to achieve their orgasmic potential, as we sexperts like to say, as we orgasmonauts often say, I tell them, push out, open up, relax, let go. Like so many women, they're like, trying to like concentrate everything right on the tip of their clit, like, you know, and it's
yes.
Girl, breathe into your pussy. Open up. Open your pussy like a lotus flower. You want to bloom. You want to blossom. You want to just let that whole thing just kind of come out. You want the G-spot to come out. You want everything. When it gets super plump. Oh, I got another weird thing to tell you. When it gets super plump and juicy and ripe and full of blood, it becomes like this pillow cushion. It's just the most incredible thing. So instead of clamping down, you're opening. That's how you squirt too. You push out. You don't hold in. Everything is much better when you're just opening to your pleasure. Yes.
Relaxing and like releasing muscles that you think you need to tense, especially around the shoulders and the face. You can release all of that. And it probably really helps the tension go where it needs to be, where the body is calling it.
Yeah. You got to watch a Luke Instagram and laugh your ass off and then have sex.
Oh, that sounds nice.
That's good foreplay.
We can all do that together. That sounds, laughing does sound like good foreplay. I want to talk about the Yoni one that you mentioned, the Yoni orgasm. It's like Yoni is the vagina?
Well, Yoni is the tantric lovemaking word. So my brand of sex, if you will, is heart-connected, passionate lovemaking. Yeah. I like to transform having sex into making love. I like to transmute friction into connection. That's really what I'm about, is helping people open their hearts and deepen their intimacy and massively scale their pleasure together. Yes. And so everything I'm always thinking about and writing about is how to create those scenarios where you feel so comfortable in doing so. And so a lot of words like pussy, cock, dick, vulva, penis, various people like them or don't like them. But two words I think are really nice that almost everybody universally seems to dig are the tantric words for the female and male genital system. And that's Yoni, Y-O-N-I, and lingam, L-I-N-G-A-M. That's the dick. And they just sound pretty and reverential, and they're just a nice word. So I try to infuse the vernacular with those words so that people have another thing they can use besides the standards. Yes. And so a yoni massage is what I've really been talking about lately. I recently started an OnlyFans account because I am constantly on the edge of getting shut down on Instagram. I just can't post anything that really helps people. It's so limited in social media.
Yes. I mean, I agree. And I just don't understand it for people like you, who is their job. I like posting about sex too. And yet, like, whenever you do, the Instagram's like, wait, you can't talk about sex, but you can talk about all these other despicable things on there that seem to be completely fine. It's like, well, sex is something that we all do or should be doing and should be doing more of. What's the problem? Are you conservatives?
Yes, they are. And they have to be careful because they don't want to alienate anyone in their base. And I understand it. So I just was like, okay, no problem. I'm going to go over to OnlyFans where there's freedom of speech for sexuality. And I'm going to start just posting all the things I've wanted to tell you all the time in social media. And one of the things I just posted was Yoni massage. I did a diagram of my vulva close up. I had my friend come over with a really good camera and take a picture of my vulva. And then I labeled every single part. And then I wrote how all the parts like to be touched and in what order.
Wow.
Because what I found is that women want to have a yoni massage, which is basically a full genital massage. That's what helps us catch up with our male-bodied partners who are like ready to like, oh, I got a hard on, let's fuck. And we're like, we're not quite ready yet.
Yes.
So, men have fast-acting hemodynamics. We have slow-acting hemodynamics. The blood takes a while to get into our clitoral, urethral, and perineal erectile tissue structures in our genitals.
Yes.
And so men have been going crazy. On Instagram, I posted a blurred out picture with a flower and question marks. How you do a yoni massage, where to touch, how to touch, in what order. And literally, my fingers are sore from replying with my OnlyFans link because so many people want that. And I've never been able to teach people how to do it. And so I've been super psyched to be over there finally. It's at my name, Susan Bratton. And women want to know it as much as men do. Men are like, I need that link. Women are like, I need that link. It is time. People want to learn these intimate pleasure practices. Yeah. And what's great is it's very meditative. You get in what is literally a conjoined trance state, the theta brainwave state, where you're connecting your limbic systems together. You're feeling her. She's feeling you. She's feeling you, feeling her. You're feeling her, feeling you. There's this circle of connection, of turn on, and you're providing the stimulation and the touch the way the pussy, the yoni, likes to be touched, because those different parts want to be touched in different ways. The vestibular bulbs, the labia majora, they like to be kneaded. The mons really needs to be touched, not on the skin, but palpating this underneath the skin to the tissue, actually touching swirling circles on that tissue. The labia want, the inner labia want a real soft finger just along the edge of it. And the hood wants a windshield wiper swipe back and forth across it to stimulate the shaft of the clit to get popping. So we get our clitoral erection. I mean, everything wants its own thing. So the wonderful thing is that people are like, I want this, they're ready. Yeah. Like men are like, I want to do this for my woman. And women are like, I need to have this from my man. I need to have all their attention on my pleasure and filling me up with orgasms so that when I'm finally dying for them to put their penis in me, it feels unbelievable and I have orgasms. Like that is where we're going here.
Totally. And so there is a way to do all of that at once, to give every part of the yoni a touch like that's, you know what I mean? There's a way to do it all at once.
What you do is you start, there's this thing I always teach guys that really helps men. It's called the bullseye touch technique. Because basically when a guy's turned on, which is all the fucking time, because he's got testosterone every day. If he's healthy, he's got morning wood, he would love you to jump on his cock and get yourself off on it. And, he masturbates every day because he's biologically wired to top that sperm off in case he can make a baby. I mean, doesn't even have any control over that. He just wants to do it every day. And so he's always horny and ready to go. And then he's got, boom, fast acting hemodynamics. And he's like, bing, let's go, baby. And of course, penetration feels super good to him, right? Yep. Because, his whole dick is in that gorgeous, voluptuous, velvety pussy. Yeah. And so he's got to take the time to slow down and turn around and get her blood into all her erectile tissue. So she's got her clitoral hard on. So it feels as good to her. And the thing that really, really helps all that is this bullseye touch technique, which is now that you know to slow down, you also want to start from the outside parts and work your way in. Where for you as the man, you're like, touch my dick, 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 touch my dick. As soon as you can, put your hand on my dick, put your lips on my dick, put your pussy on my dick. Let's go. Right? Like that's what you want. That's what you're like all the time. And so what do guys do? Grab us by the motherfucking pussy. Are you shitting me? You just touched my pussy outside of my pants. Do you know everything is buried inside? This is not going to work. Do not grab my fucking pussy. So instead, you want to do the bullseye touch technique. Archery, bullseye, 3 circles. You don't want to shoot for the creamy center first. You do the opposite. You have to do the George Costanza, the opposite of your natural urge.
Yes.
Right? You'll do much better doing the opposite of what you think you should do because women are the difference. And so the idea is you start with the hair, with the back, with the butt, with the thighs, then the inner thighs, then the belly, then the ass, then the breasts, but not the nipples, then the nipples. And when you kiss her, you start kiss her cheeks, kiss her nose, kiss her lips. You don't go, and stick your tongue in. But you do want to get your tongue in there because one of the great things is that lips, tongues, breasts, nipples are literally attached, jacked into the clit. So when you start by touching and kissing and playing with all those things, not grabbing the nipples, not grabbing the crotch, not jamming your tongue in slow, you go slow. And then that gets her clit starting to get a hard on from the inside out. It's called an everted erection. I looked this word up in the dictionary. I'm super proud. Everted means from the inside out. So there's clitoral erection you do with you rub a vibrator on there, you do a Yoni massage, you go down on her, you finger her, you do all that before you penetrate her. Great. But start with all the externalities. Hold her, hug her, tell her you love her, tell her what's sexy about her, tell her you worship her, and doing all those outside rings, then the middle rings, then you can get to the center. And that is what will get her continuing to want to fuck you. If she doesn't want to fuck you, it's because she hasn't been getting what she needs. All people love sex when it's done well to them. And so you kind of have to reverse what you've been naturally doing is treating her the way you wanted to be treated. And you have to start treating her. It's the golden rule versus the platinum rule. The golden rule is to do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. That's not so good with the men versus the women thing in the bedroom. What you want is the platinum rule. I'm going to treat you the way you want to be treated, and you treat me the way I want. So when I teach women how to ravish a man, what does he want? It's more like, well, grab his dick, suck his dick, fuck his dick, and make him a sandwich. That's what guys want.
Yes.
What man does not like sex in a sandwich? 0 men. All men love this.
So true. I think that there's like the bullseye technique, 3 things. There are 3 bullseyes. There's the head leading to the tongue and the mouth. Like the vagina. There's the chest leading and the belly leading to the nipples. Like just like the clitoris, you know what I'm saying? And then there's the lower section, which is all leading to the clitoris. So it's like that's the 3 bullseyes I'm hearing from you. And that sounds really like it. Good and doable. And it sounds, and you're exactly, you've so much of what you just said hit me because I do think, that to be frank, like the way that me and my wife are, particularly now that she's pregnant, is like, okay, could we get it over and done with? Like we're 2 working people. We need to we need to get going. And it's very rarely, and it's usually like, let's just get down to business. And it's very rarely the bullseyes. It's always going to the middle of the bullseye rather than starting from the outside in. And I think that that's a really great lesson for people out there who are maybe think that they're more sexual than their partner. And maybe that is true. There is such a thing as a libido difference, but perhaps, working from the outside in and looking for what they want to do rather than what you want to do sounds like a really good lesson.
Yeah, the longer you do the longer you let your wife do, let's get it over with, that every time you let her get away with that bullshit is one more brick in the wall of your future sexless marriage.
Yes.
Ooh, you're like, no, babe, I'm going to give you a pussy massage. You're just going to lie down and give it, and then if you want to have sex, good. If you don't, we're going to bed. I can always masturbate, but I'm not going to rush your body, because every time you rush her body, her pussy is like, fucker. And even if she doesn't rationally know that, look, our pussies are our GPS. They tell us everything, whether we're listening to them or not. It's like one more hash mark against you every time you rush it. And yes, there are moments where you want to rip your clothes off and fuck, for sure. Yeah. They're especially in new relationship energy. But those are the unusual times. Exception to the rule. They are, exactly. That's the word I was trying to think of.
Yeah.
I wanted to tell you some other freaky thing that I was thinking about. Remember, I was like, oh yeah, I have one more freaky thing.
Yeah.
So research was just published this week that showed dissected clitori. Clitorati, I don't know what they're called. Dissected clitorati from like 10 cadavers. They pulled the clits out, and they were from women from like 40 to 80. So they pulled the clits out and they measured them and they located all the parts and they showed what all the pieces are. It's called the clitoral body. And then it has the glands, which is the tip, the shaft, and then the arms, which are the crura, and then the legs, which are the vestibular bulbs. And what they were doing it for was to find the nerve innervation for gender reassignment surgery. So our trans folks contributed mightily to women's anatomical knowledge. So thank you, trans folks, for that. And what I saw in these photos, I just published an article on this yesterday with pictures from the research describing what all the parts are, where you find them in the body. Because I think the more you have, like the Orgasmonaut likes to give you the map, right? The more you know where the shit is, the more you can find it and stimulate it and give her better orgasms. Yeah. Literally, if I put my clitoris in my hand, it would cover my palm. It's a big piece of meat. Yeah. And that's just one of the 3 erectile tissue structures. There's a whole urethral, they call it a G-spot, but it's this big tube of erectile tissue that looks like, you know, those pool noodles that kids whack each other with in the pool, you know, those crazy, get the shit out of you with this thing. They always do that. Why can't they just sit on the goddamn noodle? Why do they have to whack the shit out of each other? This is why I had one kid, because you have 2 kids in the back of your car. You're crazy for doing it. You are crazy for doing it, because they're going to sit in the back of your car and they're going to beat on each other for a decade. I know. So you got this coming.
I know. I don't know why, but I can't wait.
You're going to have the pool noodle in the front of the car. You're just going to be back there like whacking the shit.
Whacking him. Oh, yeah.
You're just going to be like, shut up. I'll hit you with a pool noodle. I'm going to hit you with the urethral sponge.
And then I'm going to stop and I'm going to show them the noodle. I'll say, this is the urethral. No. Where were you going with that? You're saying that the actual vagina, that's the stimulating tissue around there? It's like that?
So really what it looks like is we've got the urethral sponge, which is more like this tube of tissue, erectile tissue. We've got the clitoral body, which is like basically this big piece of liver, this big giant thing that's all wrapped in there. And then between the vagina and the rectum, there's another sponge called the perineal sponge. So if you think about the vagina is literally wrapped in tissue. So if you basically took your dick, and remember that your dick, 50 to 60% of it sticks out of your body. There's another like half that goes in your body and down towards your balls. That's all spongy tissue. Half your dick, it's called your buried shaft. Half your dick is in your body. Right. And if you took all that tissue out and you wrapped it around the vagina, we have a dick wrapped around our vaginal canal. And yet we're penetrated so quickly because that takes a longer time, 20 or 30 minutes to get filled with blood. So we're constantly penetrated when we don't have our own erection, which is why, hallelujah, Yoni massage. Let's get in there, roll up your sleeves, get the oil on your hands and get in there and get mommy's dick popping. Yeah. So when you slide yourself in there, she's like, I'm coming right now. The whole time you're fucking me. That's all learned skills.
Just getting mummy's dick popping is my favorite. Is my favorite thing you've said thus far. Second only to perineal sponge, which, by the way, if I was a baker, that'd be my number one cake.
There'd be some chocolate ganache on it because it's right by the rectum.
and I wouldn't hesitate to put some raspberry.
It's a cream pie.
Well, right, and once a month there'd be a bit of raspberry coulis on there too.
Exactly.
Incredible. So let's talk about the G-spot, because a lot of people, sounds like you coach a lot of people to have orgasms via intercourse, not just through clitoral stimulation. So how can we better push towards that?
Yeah, well, remember, clitoral stimulation, the clit's wrapped around the vagina. So if you get mommy's dick popping, it's gonna be all around there. So that's good. But the G-spot, so the G-spot is really accessible through 2 points. And the G-spot is the urethral sponge. That's the real name for it. That's the pool noodle. And it basically it's basically the spongy tissue that surrounds the urethral canal. So from the bladder, when a woman pees, her pee exit area is below her clit and above the opening to her vagina. Mm-hmm. When you open up her little labia and you open them like 2 little doors, welcome, please come into my intersanctum. That's called the vestibule. And inside the vestibule is the bottom of the clit shaft and the clit, the PP exit, which is the urethral sponge, and the vaginal entrance, which is called, here you go, here's a nerdy word, I'll even say it nerdy way, introital sphincter. That's what it's called. Sphincter, wow. Introital sphincter. But it's a sphincter muscle, and so you want to tease it and channel it. You never want to just like stick your dick in there. You want to just like get that thing to suck your dick in. It will literally pull you in when it wants you in there. Yes. So the G-spot, you can access it in 2 locations. You can stick your finger inside the vagina and press up on the roof of the vagina and feel rumply, like little walnutty, ridgy tissue. Yep. And then you could also go inside the vestibule. Welcome, open up the labia. Go underneath the clit before you hit the opening to the vagina. And there's a little bit of the rosebud there that has this beautiful spongy tissue right there that's just as pleasurable to touch as going inside and up on the roof. Got it. And then when you awaken the G-spot, and really what you want to do is you want to think about awakening the entire yoni. You want to think about enlivening and activating all the neural pathways to her brain, her biggest sex organ, by stimulating all those places so that they get plump and velvety and engorged and full of blood, so they have more surface area that sends more massive pleasure signals to her brain. So she has much better orgasms, more intense orgasms, more satisfying orgasms, more kinds of orgasms. So the G-spot, when you stroke it in both locations, you're getting blood flow to it. It's plumping up, and it'll actually plump up and stick out of the vagina. It'll open. The vagina will open, and the G-spot or the urethral sponge will start to come out. And then intercourse is really nice because you're sliding your penis across all that tissue. And that feels really, really good when that whole thing's activated. Yeah. And from what my understanding of the vagina, a lot of the nerve endings are around the opening and within the first few inches, rather than everyone's looking for that deep penetration, which of course is incredible, but it's actually
most of the stimulation can happen in just the opening and those first few inches. Is that right?
Well, there are mechanoreceptors in the opening to the vagina, which like pressure. They like the feeling of the penis kind of pushing in. They like that sensation. But inside the vagina, there are all kinds of spots. You know, a lot of times we think about the vagina like it's a tube, you know, like the opposite of the penis, like an inside out penis, but it's not. It's more like a pocket, like a fuzzy little pocket. It's just this little pocket that expands and balloons. So it's more like a room. Like my lover, when he fucks me really, really well and super deep and like goes on the left and the right and the back and the bottom and the top and all these places, and he's just like moving all around and crazy. And he's like, yeah, we added a few new rooms onto the house in there, didn't we? Like, I think I added a whole like indoor swimming pool this week. You know, like he's always talking about all these places he found inside there. And so all that can be activated. Women love cervical stimulation. They love something called the anterior fornix. They like deep penetration. They like all of it.
Yes. But it are all, especially with that deep stimulation, I'm sure that takes time, like you were mentioning, making sure the bullseye coming in and then eventually getting to that deep stimulation, right?
Yes. And it's good if you have make love over, you know, a few days. So you keep incrementing her engorgement and getting, you know, you can go in deeper and you can, you know, do more. And then she also has different periods of her cycle where she wants softer, more delicate, and other times where she wants like deeper and more ravishing and more surrendered to you, just taking control. And sometimes doggy feels great, and sometimes she wants to be a cowgirl and be on top and running the game and just coming all over you and, you know, just loving being able to do whatever she needs to with your dick and her pussy. I mean, it's like, that's what's fun about sex is when you really listen to your appetite in the moment, your body will come up with all kinds of fun stuff to do. Yes.
Amazing. No, I love that. And I want to talk a little bit more about what you mentioned about, you know, kind of having it like somebody saying to their wife, like, you want to rush this. How about this? Right. I'll give you a yoni massage. And whether we have sex at the end of that or not, doesn't matter. Or we can just go to bed, you know. I like that. Can we talk about that more? About how we can like almost have a daily sexual practice that isn't about getting off, that isn't about I take from you so that I can get. It's about like giving. Can we talk about that more?
Yes. Yeah. It's moving away from the quid pro quo. Well, if I give you a pussy massage, then you have to fuck me. Then she's never going to want you to give her a pussy massage because there's always going to be this expectation. So she's going to be like, oh, I don't know. I don't really want it. But if it's like, darling, you now, for Christmas, I'm giving you unlimited pussy massages for the rest of your life, whenever you want them, with no requirement to do anything but roll over and go to sleep afterward. You'll honestly net more sex and have a better sex life in the long run by just giving her pleasure without any strings attached. Mm-hmm. When she can trust that there's no pressure for her to give back, she'll want to give back more. There are a lot of things that are also really fun, like you lean back against the headboard and she leans back against you with, like, you put a pillow on your chest and your dick because you get sweaty and scratchy. She leans back against the pillow. You reach around and you get oil all over your hands and you just massage her breasts and play with her breasts and rub her chest and her clavicles and her neck and the little pockets in her shoulders, especially if she works out. You know, all her upper body is always hurting from pushing the weights. And you just rubbing her breasts and rubbing her nipples and just lightly rubbing and just enjoying the feel of her breasts in your hands. You're touching her for your pleasure. You're not touching her for effect. You're not touching her to do her. That's another male directive is, I'm going to make you come. It's like, dude, I'll fucking come. Like, just chill out, right?
Yes.
Don't make me come. Just take your pleasure. I'll feel your pleasure. Be present with me. Just relax and connect and bring your heart and your pleasure to your touch. And that's going to get me off. And a lot of times what I like to do is I like to get boob massages. I have a thing called Breast Massage Master Plan. Guess what the URL is?
You have breastmassagemasterplan.com? Have you got it?
Of course I do. Of course I
do. That's amazing.
You should see my URLs. They're the best in the universe. So Breast Massage Master Plan talks about a lot of the techniques, the bullseye touch, outside in, how to stroke, the places to stroke, how it likes to be stroked and all this stuff. But a lot of times what I like to do is I like to have, sometimes when Tim and I are watching TV, he just gives me a breast massage. And sometimes it turns into more and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes we just go to bed, but he gets as much joy out of giving as I do receiving. Sometimes I just stroke his cock while we're watching TV. We're not even having sex. I'm just stroking his cock. I also love, I'll stroke my lover's cock while he plays with my boobs and we make out.
Yeah.
That is so hot because you're getting the kissing, you're getting the breastgasms, you're getting cock stroking. And I think it's really important for women to learn how to do what I call laying in the base. A lot of guys, 1 in 4 guys, struggles with what they consider to be premature ejaculation. They want to last longer. They want more stamina. They don't want to come too fast. And actually what I teach guys is how to have what I call ejaculatory choice. And ejaculatory choice means you come when you want to. You can have a whole bunch of male multiple full body energy orgasms that feel just as good as the one when you ejaculate. Then you can ejaculate when you want to. And that's learning that your ejaculation and your orgasm are two entirely separate systems in your body around which you have complete control. So guys just conflated orgasm with ejaculation. And so when men learn how to have ejaculatory choice, like, I'm begging you to come in my pussy now. I want you to come. I want you to come in me. Let it go, baby. Come on. You just give it to me. I want it all. Just let it go. That's it. Guys love that because there's a lot of shame around around semen. You know, we make people feel like, oh my God, semen, it'll get you pregnant. Oh, it'll give you STI. But it's full. There's 20 essential components in semen that help partners with regulating menstrual cycles, serotonin for mood lifting, testosterone for increasing desire and confidence, zinc for mental function. I mean, semen is good for us. And so when you start with just nice cock stroking and add a little oral pleasuring to it, then a guy doesn't feel like the minute he's inside you, he's going to come because he's gotten a lot of stimulation on his penis already. So he doesn't feel that, oh, and he doesn't have that performance. Most premature ejaculation, 99.9%, is performance anxiety. Either I'm worried about what happened last time or I'm catastrophizing in the future. So I've like fucking checked out. I'm not with you. I'm just like all up in my head. Like the more you can get out of your head and into your bodies together. That's why psychotherapists, their number one strategy is sensate focus. Like when couples don't have good sex, they're like, all right, you people are all up in your heads. This is all bullshit. Just feel the feels. And you'll feel more connected. Like it's the number one go-to strategy of the psychotherapist or the sexologist is like starting with that because couples are just like, she's in her head, worried about things. He's in his head, worried about it's like, there's no there. So you got to get to the limbic connection, the interplay of turn on. You've got to be like, oh, baby, I want you. You're so fucking hot. This feels so good. Oh yeah, do that. Oh, do that. No, don't do that. You're on my hair, you know, and like just this running flow of feedback and adoration and desire expression and moaning. I mean, it gives you all the feedback to know how you're doing. I mean, when couples can get to that point where they're like, here's what my pussy wants today. And then all kinds of great verbal and all kinds of great moaning and lots of sex positions and lots of new things. Your sex life is on fire when you're like that together.
Yeah. There's something so great about, taking away the performance aspect of sex and taking away it's just for the ending. It's all about the ending and never about like climbing the mountain together, whether or not we get to ejaculation, orgasm at the end. If we can connect along the way, that's the joy, right? And so many people are like, oh, we've got to get to the orgasm. We've got to do this and that. So many guys, I'm sure, with the, the premature ejaculation are just so worried and held up and they're pent up and they're not connecting and doing, I think, what you talked about before, where, sometimes you just stroke your partner. Sometimes he just, massages your breasts, doing little practices like that throughout the day. And not thinking of sex as just that orgasm, just that ejaculation, and just thinking of sex as a whole lifestyle. I think it will completely shift that performance anxiety and that need to perform all the time. It's like, how about sex be a lifestyle?
Yes. Yeah, that saying, if mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. We've been having what I call patriarchal sex, which is penetration-focused sex. And don't get me wrong, I love intercourse. As a matter of fact, one of the best things I've ever written is a series of intercourse techniques where I teach people how to be good at fucking, because people, they're not. They're just like basically, that's it. Like they got one fucking move. No wonder it's boring for her. But when you move to matriarchal sex, when you move to, there's no such thing as foreplay. Because all that shit you were doing is foreplay to get to what you call sex, intercourse, is all sex to mommy. Mommy wants full body touch, her hair stroked, her eyelids kissed. She wants a hot makeout. She wants to stroke your cock. She wants you to eat her pussy. She wants to go down on you. She wants to have some throat orgasms. She needs some belly orgasms. She wants a Yoni massage. She wants to try some sex toys. She wants to get fucked, have orgasms. When you come and you're done, then she wants to lay back against you, have you play with her titties while she holds a vibrator on her clit and gets 5 more orgasms out. Then she wants to go to bed. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Wow, that sounds really great.
Super hot.
It's great. It's great. There's just this, you just become are you a poet in any other region of your life, or is it only when you talk about sex, do you think?
It's all I talk about. So I don't think I talk about anything. I don't think I talk about anything else. I think about sex 24/7. I mean, basically, I live in an onslaught of DMs and emails with, here's my problem, what do I do? Which I love because my brain is hungry to solve problems. And so all I'm doing is just all day long is I'm just answering people's sex questions and then posting them on my OnlyFans, posting them in my newsletters, posting them on my websites, doing new videos to solve the problems. I think that's what has made me, my passion is passion. So I don't know. I don't know if I talk about anything else.
I love it. You're a master in your domain. So what do you think I'll give you 3 things, 3 books, because you've written many. And I understand that they're all quite small. So don't be intimidated out there if you're thinking that you're about to get a 500-page essay on thrusting. It's okay. It's going to be small, enjoyable to read, and you get to have sex afterwards, which is great. So give us 3. You get to give us 3 of your URLs or books that we should all go to. Which one are you going to choose?
3. The pressure's on. Oh, you said one of them, which is probably, I was literally looking for my list of all my shit. I have written 44 books, and you're right. I like little hinges that swing big doors. I don't want blah, 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 blah.
Oh my God.
Just tell me what the fuck to do to have hot sex. That's my book.
Hot.
So I would say number 1 is Thrust in Time at thrustintime.com.
Beautiful.
It's a technique that probably I get the most exclamation points from people who are like, oh my God, I did that. And she finally came from intercourse, and I didn't come too fast. I solved the 2 biggest issues. I come too fast. She doesn't come at all when we fuck. And that's thrustintime.com. And it's basically some ancient Taoist practices that I bring into the 21st century and add some spins to. Beautiful. I like that one. Another one that I really like is 7 Stimulating Sex Positions. It's at the number 7positions.com. It's an illustrated guide. So I show you my favorite positions, because what I noticed is that people when they have sex, and by sex I mean basically intercourse, because that's what people think, they're just focused on the genital friction.
Yes.
And they're not rubbing each other's bodies, or they're not adding a vibrator in, or they're not I like a combination where you're stimulating multiple parts and locations simultaneously while you're doing the position. And there's headboard daddy, chingalinga, there's all these yum yum. There's like all my 7 favorite positions and how to do them. And I had them illustrated so you could see what they look like. That's at 7positions.com, the number 7positions.com. That's one of my favorites. And then my third one, oh, I know. I sent you a penis pump.
Oh my God.
Did you do it? Yeah?
We were gathering around watching it the other day. It's pretty amazing. Like something I've never experienced before. And very
Did you pump
cool.
your dick up yet?
Yeah. I pumped it up, and Cara was there watching, and it was so fun.
Yeah.
It's so weird to pump something and watch your penis get bigger. It's really
know.
And it was an enjoyable little experience for the both of us. Okay, so how do we get the penis pump?
Yeah, so pumpingguide.com is probably my third favorite book, because I like to help men have men are generally, a lot of men are pretty proud of their penises. And if they like their penis, they want it to be even better. Like, I'm 6 inches and I want to be 7. I'm 7 and I'm going to be 8. I'm a little thin and I want to be thicker. I have a super short little stubby and I need more dimension. Whatever it is, I love to help men achieve their penile potential. And the number one best way to do that is to use a vacuum erection device. And the one that I love is called the Whopper. That's the one that I had Judith send to you. And basically, I want to get guys that have tried it in the past. They bought a Chinese novelty item from an adult store. They didn't know what they were doing. They didn't do it right, and they weren't consistent. So they didn't get any results. And they're like, this is bullshit. And I'm like, no, this actually increases the blood carrying capacity of your dick. It gives you firmer erections. You get a big, nice veiny. You get a dick that has thud factor. You're like, oh, there's my fucking dick. Yeah. And when you get out of the shower, you're like, oh, my dick looks good. And then when it gets harder, your wife is like, that's a nice hard cock, baby. That's what I want. Like, it's just so nice.
Makes everything better.
Really nice dick. Everything better. And you get better orgasms, you get more explosive ejaculations. You're just happier with your dick. And the Pumping Guide has been such a nice book. Over 30,000 copies have been downloaded. I'm in my 2nd edition. I'm always updating it because I love to help guys, because I talk about Gainswave. I talk about penis pumping. I talk about nitric oxide supplementation. I talk about penile extenders. I talk about red light therapy. I talk about P-shot. I talk about, like, if you want to fucking rock your dick, here's what you do. And guys love that. Yeah. So I wanted to send you a pump because it's so cool to stick the pump on your dick and see, oh, wow, this is actually the maximum carrying capacity of my dick. So if I just pump and pump up the volume over time pretty consistently, I'm going to have a more banging boner. And there ain't nothing more than I love in the world than a banging boner.
No, that's true. I've always said that about you, actually.
A lot of people do. It's commonly known.
Amazing. Okay, so at Susan Bratton at Instagram.
Yes, and OnlyFans now.
And OnlyFans now. And then SusanBratton.com is a good way for people to find you.
Yeah, although that's more like my publicity site. That's where people like you find me. Personallifemedia.com is where I have all the articles, like all the fucking techniques, all the oral techniques, everything. And then betterlover.com is where I have hundreds of videos on how to give a yoni massage, how to make love to an older woman, how to make love to a man, how to ravish a man, like all kinds of really fun, sexy techniques and things. That's at Better. I used to have it on YouTube, but I was like, I'm going to get kicked off here. So I better start my own website with my videos.
It's just life, isn't it? Well, this conversation has been, more fun than I don't think I've ever had in a conversation. And I feel like I really want to go and have sex right now. So
Me
maybe
too.
I'm going to go and
I'd
do
like
that.
to have sex with you right now. You're so handsome.
Oh
And you look
my
so hot in that
God.
leopard shirt. You're so cute. And I'm in love with you on your Instagrams. And I'm always like, you even looked in those boobs the other day.
They're great boobs too. They're like Dolly
such
Parton
nice
type
boobs.
boobs, and I got them for a bachelor
I was
party, and I've never
weirdly
let them go.
attracted to you in those boobs.
That's interesting. That's interesting. You should write about that. You should get the URL lukeandtits.com.
LukesTitties.com.
Yum. I've loved this conversation so much.
Me too.
Susan Bratton, thank you for being here.
Thanks, Luke.